There we go.
Hey, we're live.
Hey!
Hey, Deanna.
Hello, Brad. I'm so glad to have you over here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm at Deanna Pizitz's house. And Deanna, you sort of do something similar to what I do. So I'm learning from you, and you're learning
I've learned
from...
a lot, yeah.
Yes.
I've already learned a lot from you. I like this a lot better. This angle is a lot better than when I just do it on my laptop.
Now, when you do it, no, but I see you sometimes, you must be holding a selfie stick or something.
No, what I do sometimes is I walk around with my camera up here. You know, it always looks
Holding
good.
it with your arm?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
You must have really long arms.
Have you not ever watched, you've probably never watched Living with Landon. She holds it like this, and man, it's a great angle. It makes you look really good.
I always thought you had a selfie stick.
I don't know.
Oh my
I
God!
just hold it like this.
So y'all, I'm with Deanna Pizitz, and Deanna does a show called Well and Worthy Life.
Well, it's not a show. It's a blog. So
It's a blog. Is you consider it a blog or a vlog?
Well, I really consider what I do is a blog, and then I am on social media a lot. Promoting, well, I'm on Instagram. You probably watch me
follow
mostly
you
on
on Instagram.
So you watch my Instagram stories,
Right?
Which is a lot my husband. So
I love it.
You even said the
I
other
love
day
it.
the whole thing about Well and Worthy is my husband, and he is quite funny. So you should follow me on Instagram. It's under Well and Worthy.
He's quite
Life.
funny because he's a reluctant participant, but I think he's starting to enjoy it actually.
Oh, I think he enjoys it a lot, actually.
So tell our listeners what Well and Worthy Life is, so we can give them a place to sort of start from.
Okay.
What is Well and Worthy Life?
Okay, so Well and Worthy Life, I started, and it started out just as a blog spot, just for me to share some of my stories about health and wellness.
Okay.
So you see fashion bloggers all the time. They write about their outfits.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I do
you
not.
You don't know about that?
No,
okay.
I don't.
Okay, well,
I do
all of
not,
you out there, I'm
I do
sure
not
you
see
know
fashion
about
bloggers
fashion bloggers.
anywhere.
So one of my best friends is a fashion blogger, and I would watch her, and she ended up, right after she started her fashion blog, she got breast cancer. And she shared her whole story of breast cancer, going through her mastectomy and everything. And really inspired me, I guess. And then after she got better from breast cancer, even through the breast cancer, her love is fashion. Mm-hmm. So she would always show how to be fashionable. And her blog is called The Middle Page.
The what page?
The middle page.
The middle page. So she started this middle page. You saw this and you said, okay, I'm starting Well and Worthy Life.
Well, she did this like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Well, actually 5 years ago now. And no, I you know how you throw around different ideas, and even before I married Jeff and I was single, I even thought about doing a blog on dating in my 40s. But life gets busy and you're just working and stuff. And so I used to own a Pure Barre studio, and when I sold my Pure Barre studio, I had some time, not a lot of time, because I was taking care. My mother had passed away. I was taking care of her estate, and also taking care of my stepfather, who has Lewy body dementia.
Oh dear.
So as I'm going down that path, it really, I started thinking about all the things I was going through, and I would like to help others who were going through similar things. And the best way I could do it was to write down blog posts to share with other people. And so that's kind of how I started.
And so it started with the blog, and then you share a lot to social media.
Right.
And again, back up and tell us what your message is. Who are you trying to reach with Well and Worthy Life?
So my message is to women, and to encourage women to live their best life. It's really to anybody, but I have a heart for women, because anybody that follows me knows that I've had two fathers, because my father died when I was like 28, so my mom remarried. So I say I have two fathers, I have two brothers, I have 3 sons, and I'm on my 3rd husband. So I have plenty of men in my life. I don't need any more men. So I really have a heart for women.
Somehow I have caught your stuff. And in a way, I mean, Doc Talk Live is about anything that's health related.
Right.
And the whole point is to be not so stuffy and to be more to present information in a more laid back way, but to do anything that has some sort of health. And I want people to be able to ultimately either email questions in or call in questions like, how do we, like you mentioned, cancer, breast cancer, how do we get to the root of the problem? Can we get a breast cancer specialist, which we've had on before? Or how would we Google something, and how would we dissect through the information to know, to make sense of it all? I used to have a radio show, and it's not like I can know everything about medicine, but I could decipher what the caller was saying and use their information to explain back to them what their doctor was trying to say in a very limited period of time.
Because it's so scary, right? You get a diagnosis or something, and it's, if you aren't educated in that field and you're just for the first time hearing all this, you can Google all kinds of stuff, but then
how do you decipher through it? And not everybody has a quote unquote health expert that can help them translate, for them. So your show, Well and Worthy Life, is about living well, living healthy.
It's about living well. It's about making right choices. It's about a health journey. So I have since gone on to get my health coaching certification. So it has evolved into just not a blog anymore. Now I work with one-on-one with clients. I also am a faster way to fat loss coach. So my main goal is to help women. Most women come to me because they want to lose weight so that they can gain confidence in themselves and live whatever they want to live. Most women, whether they have gained weight from pregnancy, whether they've gained weight from menopause or middle age, or maybe it's just making bad food choices. They're not happy with themselves. And so when they don't have that happiness within themselves, that confidence within themselves, then it affects everything about their life.
Sure. And before we get too far, how do they find you?
So you can go to wellandworthylife.com. You can follow me on Facebook at wellandworthylife.com. Also under Deanna Pizitz, Pizitz, and then also under Instagram under Well and Worthy Life.
So the hashtags that I put out there should work. So now that we've got that out of the way, what are some common things that people do wrong? Or what are some things that people, what are some recommendations that you have found that really helps people lose weight or feel better?
Right.
Get
honestly,
healthy.
So there seems to be, every time I talk to somebody, everybody's so busy. They're too busy. And so I always tell everybody, in fact, I just gave a talk to a garden club last week, and I said, number one thing you need to do is breathe. If you don't breathe, right, when you're stressed, you catch yourself holding your breath. So
I've tried meditating before. You know how you're supposed to free your mind, and then you focus on the breath, focus on the breath. I can't do it.
Oh gosh! So that's what everybody says.
Deanna, I cannot do it. I absolutely cannot do it.
You can. Okay. You can. Okay. Here's the thing. So if you were going to go out and run a marathon, you wouldn't just go out and run the marathon, right?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, you might, but most people.
I couldn't do a marathon. Okay. I could if I had to just run to do it. You have to build up to it.
Right. Okay,
no question
just
about
like
it.
Meditation.
You have to build up to it.
So I can't. I'm like you. My mind kind of goes, right. Is that why you can't meditate? Or
the problem is you're supposed to let the mind go and not. You're supposed to be devoid of thought.
Right.
And I find as soon as I try to do that, my brain just fills with thought. It's like not thinking about pink elephants. But I will say what works for me is pottery. Pottery is the one thing I can do. To me, it's
cool.
I call it my yoga. I sit at the wheel, the clay spins, and my brain is completely gone. It's like totally into the clay, which is just mush. No idea what I'm making. It doesn't necessarily come.
That.
But that's the only thing that I have found works. I also did this thing. It's a type of dance. It's called 5 Rhythms Dance. It's this really bizarre dance. I'd like to do a doc talk on 5 rhythms
you
dance.
should.
But it's very bizarre. You do all these weird dances, and you don't even dance in rhythm because I can't dance in rhythm. But it's like moving meditation. But I have a hard time with meditation, Deanna.
Well,
I really
will say
do.
most people do have it. And so my thing is, so there's a app called Insight Timer, INSIGHT Timer. It's a free app, and on there it has guided meditations. So if you have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I just sitting there trying to meditate, I can't do that either. But I can do these meditations.
You can do 5 minutes.
I can do 5-10 minutes. And if you start your day like that, but even more than that, let's just say, okay, you're just not going to do that.
When I was a kid, my parents used to make us meditate. I was like 12 years old. Oh, it was awful.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
It was awful. I mean, it was just terrible. It was like, it was painful. It's like, you got me up for this. I could be sleeping right now.
Carter's watching my son, and Carter, can you imagine if I would have made you do that?
Oh man, it was awful. I was like, and then I just ended up falling asleep. But it's like, I just wanted my extra sleep. But I was just a kid.
That is so funny.
It is funny. My parents were into all that stuff.
They were really, well, so here's the thing I think about meditation. It really goes back to this breath. So I found myself when I was under stress, and I think most people are like this, when you're under stress, you hold your breath, which builds up more stress.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people to slow down and breathe. Breathe. And to me, that's the number one thing. If you just, if you find yourself stressed, because believe it or not, stress will make you hold on to weight. You probably know this, but because your cortisol levels raise.
Mm-hmm.
And so if your cortisol levels are raised, then you hold on to the weight. Your body will not let go of the extra weight. And then that's where you see all that weight around the middle, that fat that just kind of likes to collect like an inner tube around you.
Right.
So, and that's a lot of people. It is because of stress.
So people need a lot of reinforcement. I mean, so as a life coach, do you sit down with them via the internet on a daily basis? Is it weekly? I mean,
so it depends on which program they are.
How often would they, because they need that message every day. Hey, you need your 5 minutes,
Right.
And I bet you have a program.
I do. I actually have a couple of programs. So one program I coach is called Faster Way to Fat Loss. And it is a program where it is a group program, and it's all online. It's in a Facebook group, and I teach them, and we go through the nutritional part. So we talk about intermittent fasting, we talk about carb cycling, and counting our macros. And in that,
counting our macros, I'm not familiar with that term.
Okay, so macros, you know what macronutrients are?
Maybe not.
It's okay. It's funny because a lot of people don't, but anyway, that's fats, proteins, and carbs.
Okay.
Okay,
so the big three.
Yeah,
that's
what
right. Everything's made of.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we count those. Instead of counting calories, we focus on our macronutrients, because the whole theory between Faster Way to Fat Loss is we eat. It's making sure you eat the right food at the right time for the right reason.
Right.
So the nutrition component is a huge component of it. We do have a smaller exercise, but it's an accountability thing. It's a daily accountability group that is there, and it's a community that supports you. And
I'm not a big fan of juicing. Where are you on the whole juicing
I'm not a
thing?
big fan of juicing.
And here's why I don't like juicing. And maybe,
I agree with you.
Well, but to me, why do you want to drink your calories?
I agree with you.
Why not just eat them? It seems like it would be a lot more filling to eat all the things that you put in the juice.
Right.
Like, it would take me literally a half hour to eat 2 apples. Mm-hmm. And it would take me 10 seconds to drink the apple juice that came out of those 2 apples.
Right, and think about all the sugar.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the problem, I think, with most juices, is that it's filled with so much sugar to make it taste good enough for you to be able to drink it.
Which then makes you gain weight. You think, I'm doing this healthy thing, but you're really not. The other thing, and I want to know what you think of this, I really think if you're not hungry, don't eat.
Okay, so there's a lot of. I agree with you on some ways, and then some ways not. The problem is you can condition your body to not be hungry. So most people, I really say most women, over-exercise and undereat.
Really?
Oh yeah, especially my age women.
They over-exercise and undereat. So if they're over-exercising and undereating, I would think they would be too thin, not too fat.
Believe it or not, they're not, because they're stressing their body. So again, it's just like if you have mental stress,
So you're
you
saying
can have
they're
physical
hanging
stress.
on to whatever calories they can, and they're trying to
Your
keep
body
them.
goes into starvation mode. Their bodies would, just like, okay, remember back in the caveman days? Think about the
I
caveman.
don't remember those days, but
you've
I'll
heard
take
about
your
it,
word for
right?
it. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
In the caveman days, where you had to go hunt your food, you might go for a long time without food because you couldn't
Sure.
get it, right?
Right, okay.
And your body has to preserve what it can do. Our bodies are the same way. Our bodies will hang on. If we don't eat enough, it's not going to function properly.
But ultimately, it's calories in, calories out,
I
right?
know. No, it's not.
It's not. So,
in my opinion, in what I've learned.
okay.
Okay. And
That's
I know
why I
some
love this
people,
forum, so we can sit and, debate this.
I mean, and honestly, you're a doctor, and I'm
That
sure
means nothing in this scenario. It's not like I took a bunch of nutrition courses.
Well, it's funny because I will tell you, I guess it was in my health coaching class, one of the doctors on there said, in medical school, we don't even take, how much nutrition do you end up taking as doctors?
We had in my medical school a class on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't even know what macronutrients are. So,
right.
But this is going back into the 80s too,
right.
which you can imagine things are always evolving when it comes to diet.
Right.
But I will say the bottom line is people shouldn't diet. They should have a lifestyle that is conducive to having an appropriate weight.
Right.
And so eating the right foods and exercise would be essential to that. But then again, picking the right foods, like we said, I don't believe in juicing. You don't believe in juicing. I tend to lean toward the high proteins. I think the carbs are really tough. I think they there's 9 calories per gram when it comes to sugars. And so, pasta it tastes great, but it's a very...
Pasta is a processed food.
And
too.
it's processed.
Okay.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I try to encourage all the people I work with to stay away from processed foods.
Right.
But
so I say if the food has a label on it, don't eat it. So if it has a label, don't eat it.
So what we say is, if it has a mother or if it comes from a plant, you can eat it. Is that reality for everybody?
Well,
No.
it's very hard, but you have to eat real food. You
have
cannot
to
eat food with a label. If you just, for a while they tried to get you to read the labels and understand the labels, and then I just realized anything with a label was bad.
Well, you know what I get Jeff to do, because if you watch my stories, you'll know on Instagram he likes ice cream.
Loves
right?
ice cream.
So
What is it? Is it Cherry Garcia? Which is his favorite ice cream?
I don't know. We could go look in the freezer, and I'm sure we have a whole freezer full of ice cream. But I always tell him, I'm like, well, just start reading the label. I'm like, can you pronounce any of those words? Like, do you think that would be good for you?
But if it has a label, forget it.
Well, I agree, but he's not going to. But at least if I tell him, like, read it, and if you can't pronounce it, so my rule of thought when I'm at the grocery store, I try to stick to the outside edges.
Yeah.
If I do end up going down the aisles, I do look at the label. If it has something that I cannot pronounce, I just set it back on the shelf. And if the first 3 ingredients say sugar, I set it back down. That's kind of my rule.
Well, that's probably 90% of what you see with a label on it, frankly.
Exactly.
All right. Well, this has been fun. In the future, if you have ideas for shows, if we can promote Well and Worthy Life so people can find you. I think there's, my viewers want to know how to live better, but they're interested in anything health related. So from cancer to diabetes to osteoporosis to
Alzheimer's, dementia.
Alzheimer's. That's
huge,
a tough one.
huge,
I consider that arthritis of the brain.
Well, it's also type 3 diabetes is what they're calling dementia.
Interesting. Type 3 diabetes. Now,
because of sugar. Sugar is a big, sugar is really, sugar is just, everybody should cut sugar out.
Sure.
I'm like,
but I haven't thought about that. So now they're saying the sugar is like an inflammation to the brain.
Oh, yeah.
And so to have an anti-inflammatory diet would be to limit your sugars. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, this was
fun.
fun.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. Any questions? I don't think so. So anyway, we'll promote it, boost it, whatever we do. I'm gonna hit finish.
Sounds
Here we
good.
go.